Welcome to Lesson 9, External Capabilities, Topic 3. In this video, we're going to cover a component called a potentiometer, which is a fancy name for a knob. In doing this, we're also going to get a chance to explore another Arduino function that we can use with our Circuit Playground Express. So let's get to it. So our Circuit Playground Express has a lot of cool inputs and outputs, but what it doesn't have is this ability to have a knob that represents a lot of different information depending on how much it's turned. So we're looking to add this. Now what you also might see is that the knob has three little wires coming off of it. That's because we need to have one for power, one for ground, and then one for the signal. The signal is going to represent how much this is being rotated. So let's go ahead and wire this up. So let's take the white to one of the outside pins. It really doesn't matter which pin it goes to, but as long as it's the outside ones, because the middle pin is the one for the signal. So I'm going to connect that to one of our 3.3 volts. I'm going to take my black and I'm going to connect that up to our ground. And as we've done in some of the other videos in this particular series of lesson 9, I challenge you to envision a circuit. That the wire leaves the Circuit Playground Express, it goes to the component, and then from the component there has to be another wire that ends up back to the Circuit Playground Express. So that completes our circuit. But we need one more wire, and that's for the middle part. And I'll explain why and how a potentiometer works. So I'm going to connect this up to A1. Okay, so this middle one, also want to make sure that they're not touching. Again, it could be a little tricky getting the alligator clips exactly right and making sure that they don't move so they're not touching each other. So this middle one serves to tell us how much of the current is being passed through the circuit, because that's what a potentiometer does. It restricts the amount of the resistance. It's called a variable resistance. So it's able to adjust how much current is flowing through. Now, that value is what's being passed to our Circuit Playground Express that we can then use to do whatever we want with. So let's look at our example. So in this case, we will be using the Adafruit Circuit Playground library in conjunction with an Arduino function. So hopefully you'll see, it's not mutually exclusive. You can use these things together, which again, opens the door for a whole lot more possibilities of what you can do with the Circuit Playground Express and additional sensors and actuators. So let's open up our serial monitor. Oops, that's not the serial monitor. Oops, don't have the serial monitor open. So let's go open it up. And as always, we always want to see what kind of values we're getting. So in doing this, we're not using the read cap like we've done when attaching like external buttons or an internal slide switch. We're going to use an analog read. And the reason for this is that we're going to have varying levels of information coming into us. So it's not a 1 or a 0, which is what a digital read can do, or the read cap does. So let's go ahead and upload this. I'm sorry, I misspoke. The read cap does give us variable information, but for this, we're going to use the analog read. So I see that it's uploaded, and I just want you to see. I'm going to pull up the camera. I want you to focus on the numbers right now. There is something else that's going to happen on the screen, but I'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to turn my knob, and I want you to see how the numbers change. So notice how the numbers are rotating between 1023 and all the way down to 0. So understanding that those are the types of numbers coming from the potentiometer we can do something. And hopefully, I mean, if you're looking at the camera instead of the numbers, that's okay. Because ultimately, that's what we want to happen. So notice I'm controlling the position of the Neopixel on the circuit playing on Express with the potentiometer. And how am I doing that? Well, if you look at the code, I've taken that value. For instance, right now, it's 600. And I divide it by 100, giving us the value of 6, and then the decimal value just gets dropped. So as I move this, let's say I move it over to like the 900 range. Notice now it's going to be 900 divided by 100, giving us a value of 9. And now the Neopixel in the 9th position is lit. Again, the potentiometer is a really cool additional component because of the fact that it gives you that capability of just kind of providing a lot of different values. Now, you could give your own meaning to this. Let's say you decided to, instead of using the set pixel color to control the neopixels, perhaps you can almost think of this like a turntable where you can control the frequency that gets played through the potentiometer. Because notice, we do have frequencies that are in the 400s. Middle C is about 261, 261-ish. Again, you're not going to get it exact, but it should be close enough for you to do something with it. Again, if you want to try to use a potentiometer with the play tones. But honestly, the possibilities are endless. It's just about your imagination as to what I can do with this knob. All right, so let's go back to our presentation. Let's review what we've done. So in this lesson 9, external capabilities, topic 3, we explored the potentiometer. To read the value in for the potentiometer, we used an Arduino function called analog read, which took the value from the potentiometer, and then we were able to use it as part of the position for the set pixel color. Again, a knob, a lot of possibilities. It's just up to you. Enjoy.